Hi, I'm Stephanie Jaworski of joybaking.com. Today we're going to make a pumpkin cheesecake, which is a lovely fall dessert and would also be very nice for Thanksgiving. So we're going to start the cheesecake with a graham cracker crust. So preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 180 degrees Celsius. And then we're going to need an 8-inch, which is 20 centimeter springform pan. Now, a springform pan comes in two parts, this and then the bottom. And then simply and then just snap it shut. And then what you want to do is either lightly butter the whole pan, or you could just spray it with one of those cooking sprays. And then I like to put it on a larger baking sheet just to make it easier to carry, and then if there's any spillage, it goes onto the larger pan. So for the graham cracker crust, you will need 1 cup, which is about 100 grams of graham cracker crumbs. Now, you can buy graham crackers in crumb form in a box, but I prefer to take the actual graham crackers and then just crush them either in the food processor, or you can just put it in a bag and just bang it with like a measuring cup or something like that into crumbs. Because I find this, when you use the actual graham crackers, it's a lot better flavor. And then this crust is a little different, that we're going to replace some of the graham crackers with ginger cookies, crushed ginger cookies, and you can use either homemade or store-bought. So I've got 1 cup of graham crackers, and I'm going to use a 1/2 cup, which is 50 grams of crushed ginger cookies. And this adds a lot of really nice flavor to your crust. Now, if you don't have ginger cookies in the house and you don't want to bother going out, then just use 1½ cups of the graham crackers. And I'm just going to mix that together with 1 tablespoon, about 15 grams of sugar, just to sweeten it a little bit. And then to that, I'm going to add 5 tablespoons, about 60 grams of butter that has been melted and cooled a little. And I'm just going to mix all that together. Now, if you want, and you're using your food processor to crush your graham crackers, you could just add the butter right to your food processor and process it all until smooth, rather than do it in a separate bowl. Okay, so just want to make sure everything's moistened, and then just pour it into your pan, just and then in an even layer. Just pack it down. I find to pack it down, it's really nice to use a small measuring cup and then just go around. That's a nice even layer. Okay, now there's 2 ways you could set this crust. One, you could just cover it and put it in the refrigerator to set for about 10-15 minutes. The other way, and what I'm going to do here, is just put it in your oven for about 8 to 10 minutes, just until it's set. Okay, our crust is now set, so I'm just going to put it on a wire rack and let that cool while we make the cheesecake filling. One thing I forgot to say is if you don't have graham cracker crumbs, you could just as easily take digestive biscuits and just crush those as well. So we're going to start the filling. The first thing we need to do is, if you have a stand mixer like this, use a paddle attachment, or you could just use an electric hand mixer as well. So you need 2/3 of a cup, which is about 145 grams of light brown sugar. And to that, I'm going to add a 1/2 teaspoon of ground cinnamon and 1/4 teaspoon of ground ginger, 1/8 teaspoon of ground cloves, and if you like, you could add 1/8 teaspoon of ground nutmeg. I don't really like nutmeg, so I'm going to leave that out, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And I'm just going to stir all that together. Now, if you find your brown sugar, a lot of times it has lumps, what I would do is just put your fingers right in there, make sure they're clean, and get rid of all those lumps, because what you don't want is in your cheesecake little pockets of brown sugar lumps. I mean, it tastes all right, but it doesn't look that great. So just get in there and just squeeze the lumps to get rid of those. And then, so to start, we need 2 8-ounce, which is about a pound, 450 grams of cream cheese. And I like to use the full fat. I find the fat-free has too much moisture for making cheesecakes, so use the full fat and have that at room temperature. Now, the important thing when you make a cheesecake is you don't want to get a lot of air into the batter. So we're only going to mix this on medium-low speed, and just until it's creamy and smooth. Might have to scrape down a bit. Tends to clump around the beater. Okay, so beat that just a little more. Okay. Scrape down the sides as much as you need to do. This, you see, it's quite sticky type. Okay, now what I'm going to do is gradually add the brown sugar to the cream cheese, and then I'm just going to beat it until it's all incorporated. Okay, that looks good. You can really smell all the spices. Okay, next I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of pure vanilla extract. And then you need 3 large eggs, and have those at room temperature also. And I'm just going to add them one at a time and make sure each one is fully mixed in, and then I'll add the next one. And scrape down the sides of the bowl as much as you need to. Okay, so the last thing we need to add is 1 cup, which is about 240 milliliters of pumpkin puree. Now, if you're using the canned pumpkin, you want to make sure that it's pumpkin with no spices added. It's just pure pumpkin. And if you want to make your own from fresh pumpkin, in the head note of the pumpkin cheesecake, I tell you how to do that. But the canned pumpkin is really good. It's excellent flavor. It's almost as good as making your own. So that's what I usually use. It's a lot more convenient as well. So I'm just going to beat this in until it's incorporated. Okay. Just make sure you scrape down the sides. You want to make sure that all that cream cheese is mixed into all the other ingredients. You don't want any big lumps of cream cheese. That wouldn't taste very good. So, that's it. Not too difficult. So I'm just going to pour that over the crust. Such a beautiful color. Okay, so I'm going to shake it to even it out. Now normally, a lot of cheesecakes you bake in a water bath. We're going to do this just a little different, a little easier. And instead of putting in a water bath, what I'm going to do is take just any kind of pan, a cake pan or a square pan, just heat proof. And I'm just going to fill it about halfway with hot water, hot boiling water. And what that's going to do, I'm going to put this pan on the bottom, right on the bottom of your oven. And what that does is the moisture from the water, I'll put my oven mitts on, the moisture from the water will really get into the cheesecake and help it bake, and so it won't crack. So once you've done that, then we're going to bake the cheesecake. Now, the important thing with cheesecakes is not to overbake them, because if you overbake them, then they tend to crack. So what we're going to do is bake it at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, 180 degrees Celsius, for 30 minutes. And then we're going to drop the temperature down to 325 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about 160 degrees Celsius, for about 15-20 minutes. Now, the time should be just used as a guide. You might want to check it a little, like at 10 minutes. Because what we're looking for is the outside of the cheesecake to be set and puffed. But the inside, if you kind of take the pan and jiggle it, the center of the cheesecake will still be a little jiggly, and it'll look a little wet. And that's what you're looking for. So use the time as a guide. Okay, our cheesecake is now done. As you can see, the outside has puffed a bit and it's set. And if I shake the pan, it's still a little wobbly in the center, and the center part is also a little wet, and that's how you want it. Now, we're not done yet. What we're going to do now is put a sour cream topping on top of the pumpkin cheesecake. And what this does is, of course, it looks good, and it adds a lot of flavor. And what it also does, if you do have a little cracking, the sour cream topping will cover that up, which is always good. So in a small bowl, just put 1 cup, which is 240 milliliters of sour cream. And I'm using the full fat. And then to that, add 1/4 cup, 50 grams of granulated white sugar, and a teaspoon of pure vanilla extract. And have your sour cream at room temperature. And just stir that up. And then just pour that over the top. You want the sour cream at room temperature because you don't want to be putting cold sour cream on top of your hot cheesecake. And then it's going to add, and just take the back of a spoon, or I'm doing an offset spatula here, and just spread it out as evenly as you can. And then we're going, leave your oven on because we're going to pop this back in the oven just to set it. The tanginess of the sour cream goes really nice with the cheesecake and the crust. Okay, that's good. So back in the oven just for about 8-10 minutes, just until it's set. Okay, so our cheesecake is now done. Now, as the cheesecake cools, it tends to shrink. And so in order for it to prevent it from cracking, what we need to do is release the cheesecake from the sides of the pan. And you can do that either with a sharp knife, or I'm going to use a flat blade spatula. Okay, now don't release the clip yet. So we're just going to leave it like this, and take a piece of aluminum foil and just place it over the top of the cheesecake, because we want the cheesecake to cool slowly. And after you want it, once it's completely cool, and that will take a couple hours, then put it in the refrigerator for 8 hours, and preferably overnight until it's completely chilled. I have let the pumpkin cheesecake chill overnight, and so now we're going to remove it from the pan. The first thing I do, the cheesecake has shrunk a little, but just to make sure that it's not stuck to the sides of the springform pan, I'm just going to take, you can take a sharp knife or just an offset spatula and just run it around the inside just to make sure. So we don't want it sticking, and then it will start tearing as we release the sides. Okay, and then just gently unclamp. That way you can just check to make sure it releases easily. Okay, there we go. Okay. Doesn't that look nice? It looks so nice with the cream cheese topping, and then the pumpkin colored cheesecake and the crust. Now, I normally just leave it on the bottom tray. I find that easier to carry around. But I know if you were taking it out to someone's house or giving it as a gift, you'd want to take the bottom plate off. So what I do to do that is first, if you get these corrugated cake circles, they're just cardboard. And you can buy them online, or you can buy them in cake decorating stores or Michael's, Joann's. And they're really nice to put underneath the cake, and then it's easier to carry. So first, I want to make sure that the graham cracker crust is not stuck to the bottom plate. So I just take a sharp knife and just make sure. Because there is a little lip on the bottom plate here, and you don't want the crust sticking to that as we try to remove it. And chilling this overnight will really help. It'll firm up the cheesecake really nice to make this easier to do. And then you can take a sharp knife or maybe a spatula of some type, and what you got to do is get the knife down between the bottom of the plate and the crust. And then have your cake circle nearby. See if I can do this so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so You can see I've kind of got the straight edge of the knife, and then I just take my cake circle and slip it in there, and then hopefully it'll just, if you have to, just, you know, you can always use your knife to help guide that, and then just slip it under there. Well, that went nicely. There. So that's how you remove the bottom plate. And then it does make it very easy to lift it up, and you can just put it on your serving plate. You can do this also with any type of cake. Use these cake circles, because then you can really lift and easily lift your cake around. Now, if you want, because we did put little pecans in the crust, we could just decorate the top. Some people like to whip a little whipping cream and then just put dollops around the outside. You could do that. I think that just, it's very simple, very classy. And then to cut your cheesecake. Some people use dental floss. I don't normally have any in the kitchen, so I don't tend to do that. But I like to use a sharp knife and have a glass of hot water, really hot water. And then just dip your knife in there for a sec. If you have the hot knife, and then of course rub it off on have a paper towel or cloth, and that makes it slide down through the cake easier. Yeah. And then you can feel the cardboard round on the bottom, you know, and then you dip again, because you want to get all that cheesecake off so you can have a nice clean slice. And okay, hopefully this will work. And just right along the cardboard round. See, first piece is always the hardest. And there we go. Oh, the plate. Doesn't that look lovely? So, there you go. This, you can cover and store this for quite a few days in the refrigerator. So, until next time, I'm Stephanie Jaworski of joybaking.com.